Hello, everybody, and welcome to season 4 of the She Is Unleashed podcast. I am your host, Dr. Mirriam Knight, and let me tell you, I am so excited about this season of the podcast because it is literally about expansion. The season is about increasing our internal capacity and our external capacity for the things that God is calling us to do. And y'all, this season, it is personal too. So, listen, we're talking about the expansion of your capacity, the expansion of your leadership, the expansion of your faith and divine calling. Sis, if you've been sensing that God is stretching you, calling you higher, and shifting your assignment, then you are right where you need to be. This episode is our introductory episode. It's called The Call to Expansion, Unlocking New Levels of Impact and Influence. And it's about how to recognize when it's time to expand and how to step into that next level with clarity, faith, and strategy. So go ahead and grab your journal, your Bible, and your coffee or tea or juice, whatever it is that you do, because we are talking today about breaking limits, tearing down fear, and positioning ourselves for unstoppable growth. Are you ready? Come on, y'all. Let's dive in. So, how do we recognize this call to expansion? How do you know that God is saying it's time? It's time to grow, it's time to expand. How do you know? See, growth is a divine mandate. God has never called us to stay stagnant. He's always leading us from one level of glory to another, from faith to faith, and from one level to the next. In Isaiah 54, verses 2 through 3, it says, "Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back, and lengthen your cords, strengthen your stakes, for you will spread out to the right and to the left." So let's look at this in the word from different aspects, okay? I love doing this. If you haven't got to know me in this way yet, this is what we do. This is what I love doing, looking at the word of God and looking at it from different translations. So Isaiah 54 verses 2 and 3. So this is the Lord saying, y'all, we are about to be in a season of transition, a season of growth and expansion, and we need to prepare for this, right? So in the message, it says, clear lots of ground for your tents, make your tents large, spread out, think big, use plenty of rope, drive the tent pegs deep. You're going to need lots of elbow room for your growing family. You're going to take over whole nations. You're going to resettle abandoned cities. Don't be afraid. You're not going to be embarrassed. Don't hold back. You're not going to come short. This is the word of the Lord. He's saying we have to increase our ability to contain the expansion that is coming our way, that which God is preparing us for. In the Passion, it says, increase is coming, y'all. This is the promise of the Lord. Increase is coming. So enlarge your tent and add extensions to your dwelling. Hold nothing back. Make the tent ropes longer and the pegs stronger. You will increase and spread out in every direction. Your sons and your daughters will conquer nations and revitalize desolate cities. The expansion is generational. The expansion is not just for us, but for our children and their children and generations to come. In the Amplified, it says, enlarge the site of your tent to make room for more children. I don't know what children means for you. I don't know. It does not have to be in the literal sense, but whatever it is God is calling you to birth in this season, He's saying make room for those new things. Stretch out the curtains of your dwelling. Do not spare them. Lengthen your tent ropes and make your peg stakes firm in the ground, for you will spread out to the right and to the left, and your descendants will take possession of nations and will inhabit deserted cities. Y'all, this is the promise of the Lord that we are going to be expanding. So this means that expansion is not optional. It is a requirement for anyone that is called to a place of leadership. And I believe everyone is called to lead in some way or form. God is always calling us higher, deeper, and wider. And the only thing that can limit us is ourselves. So here are 3 signs that will show you that it's time for your expansion. 1, you feel restless where you are. What once used to excite you no longer fuels you. God is literally shifting your assignment. 2, doors are closing in your current season. The things that once flowed easily feel forced or stagnant. And 3, God is stirring new vision and bigger ideas, and you can sense that something greater is coming, even if you don't know all the details. So here's a moment that I want you to pause at and take some time to reflect. Where have you been sensing a shift in your leadership or influence? And two, have you been resisting expansion out of fear, comfort, or uncertainty? So the two questions again, where have you been sensing a shift in your leadership or influence? And two, have you been resisting expansion out of fear, comfort, or uncertainty? You can feel the pull, you can feel the tug of God that is saying there's more, but you're uncertain, you're afraid because this is unfamiliar territory. Listen, your expansion is not about you. It's about the people that are waiting on the other side of your obedience. So take some moment right here, even if you have to hit pause on this, so that you can just reflect on that for a second. Now, I want us to talk about 3 barriers to expansion. Now that we know what the signs are that God is calling us into a place of expansion, let's talk about what's keeping you from stepping into it. So number 1, the fear of the unknown. In 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." If God is calling you to it, sis, He's already gone before you. And even though what is ahead of you feels unknown and unfamiliar and terrifying, know this, that if God has gone before you, you don't have to be afraid. And if the thoughts going through your mind are, what if I fail? Sis, what if this is the breakthrough that you've been waiting for? You've been asking God for answers. You've been praying. You've been fasting and literally coming before God and saying, Lord, I need a breakthrough in my life. For breakthrough to happen, maybe we've got to do something a little different. And what God is calling you to may look a little different, but you got to embrace that and you got to trust that if He's calling you to it, it's because He's already in it and He's already gone ahead of you and He's already prepared for you. So do not be afraid as you step into the new thing that God is calling you to. Number 2, another reason why we often hesitate when it comes to moving forward in the things that God is calling us to is because we feel like we lack capacity. There's a lack of capacity. Sometimes we're afraid to expand because we feel we are maxed out already. Like, Lord, I'm burnt out. Lord, I don't feel like I have anything more to give. Lord, I have nothing. Lord, I don't think I can do this. I don't have the capacity for something new. And it's a good thing to sit down and take a moment to think about, do I have the capacity? But we should not allow fear of inadequacy, fear of just feeling like we don't have what it takes to do the things God is calling us to do, to keep us in a place of paralysis and being stuck. In Luke 14, verse 28, it says, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost?" We have to sit down and say, Lord, what is it going to take for me to step into this next thing? Am I prepared? Do I have what it takes to sustain what you're calling me to do? But we can't stop there. After we've done the assessment to see if we have what it takes and identified areas where we need to grow, we need to actually take some steps to address those areas and be intentional about our growth and our preparation. See, even in Isaiah 54, it's telling us that there is a time of preparation where we make room and we prepare for the expansion and the increase that is coming. So, again, if you feel like you lack the capacity for the thing that God is calling you to, you got to take a moment and do a full assessment. Now, if you go to the footnotes of the show, you will see a link to a capacity expansion assessment, which will help you identify which are the areas in your life that you need to actually be intentional about growing to be able to prepare yourself for this next level of expansion that God is calling you to. Now, the third barrier to moving forward with God when He is calling us to growth and expansion and increase is comfort and familiarity. If you're always comfortable, sis, you are not growing. In Hebrews 11, verse 8, it says, "By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going." To walk with God is going to take a level of faith, y'all. It's going to take us going even when we don't have all the details, all the nitty gritties of what this journey He's asking us to go on looks like. Y'all, God is not going to give you the full plan. He's going to say go, and He's going to need you to go, even if you don't have all the details. Now, if you're like me, I need to have the full plan, and that sometimes can be a barrier because that's not faith. That is me wanting to be in control of the situation. And so in this season, God is saying, daughter, I need you to trust me and I need you to walk in obedience, even if you don't have all the details. I need you to say yes, simply because it's your heart's desire to obey me. Faith is moving forward, even when we can't see the full picture, sis. So take a moment right here. Which of these three barriers resonates with you? Is it the fear of the unknown? Is it a lack of capacity? Or is it comfort and familiarity that is keeping you from moving forward in growth and expansion? It could be one, it could be two, it could be all three of them that you find yourself wrestling with on a daily basis. I want you to write that down. And number two, we're going to explore how can you break past this barrier? Let's move past the fear. Let's move past the lack of capacity. Let's move past the comfort and the familiarity so that we can step into this next level. Again, remember, it's not about us. It's about the people that are waiting on the other side of our obedience. Your next level is on the other side of a decision. You have to make a decision that you're going to follow God wherever He's leading you. Stop waiting and step forward. So let's talk about that third component of how we can expand our influence and our capacity. So we've talked about what it feels like when we can sense a shift. We've talked about what the barriers are. And now let's talk about preparation. One, we've got to strengthen our foundation. Before God elevates you, He's going to strengthen you. When we look at the prophets, when we look at people in the Bible, just before the next level in their seasons, there was always a time of pulling back. There was always a time of withdrawal to sit with the Lord and allow the Lord to build them, to strengthen them, to empower them, to prepare them from the inside out for the new that God was about to do. We've got to create intentionally rhythms of prayer, fasting, and strategic learning, and commit to growing and deepening our spiritual disciplines in every area of our life, in every area that is necessary for this next season. And we've got to do that this month. In this month of June, I want to challenge you as we approach the half line of 2025. What steps are you going to take to be intentional about your growth and building your internal capacity for the expansion that God is about to do in your life? Number two, surround yourself with other expanders. Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Who are you connected to? Because who you're connected to will determine what you have access to. We were listening to a training yesterday, and it was talking about how sometimes the answers and the miracles and the breakthroughs that we're waiting for are not in ourselves on our own solo, but they're in the partnerships and the collaborations, the kingdom partnerships and collaborations that we are willing to take a risk on in obedience to God's leading and His discernment, right? So we have to be committed to surrounding ourselves with the right people. All it takes is one right person to unlock that door for you, to position you correctly and propel you into the next level that God has for you. So I want to challenge you today. Identify one mentor, one coach, or one community that aligns with your next level. And if you don't know one, I want to encourage you to look in the footnotes and join the She's Unleashed Collective. Y'all, we are a community of women that are intentional about supporting one another in the calling and the assignment that God has for our lives, literally setting each other free, challenging each other to walk in a level of mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, physical wholeness so that we can be everything that God has called us to. And number three, take bold strategic action. In James chapter 2, verses 17, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by actions, is dead. Faith-driven leaders don't just pray about it, they act on it. When you pray and you ask God for wisdom, you have to be willing to also execute the wisdom that He's given you. You got to act on it. So what is one action step that you will take this week, not any other time, this week towards your expansion? Listen, God has already declared your expansion. It's now. Now is your move. Now is your season for expansion. Are you ready? Will you get ready? Will you get prepared for the next that God is calling you to? Y'all, today We are launching the season 4, and it is about to be powerful, y'all. We have some incredible interviews that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I dare you to just listen and tap in. God is about to speak to you through some of these phenomenal individuals that I get to have these conversations with. Sis, I pray that you are done playing small. I pray that you are done hesitating. I pray that you embrace that this is your season to expand boldly. So your She is Unleashed challenge for today is this: identify one area where God is calling you to expand. Listen, lean into his presence. 2, take the capacity expansion assessment. Link is found in the footnotes of this podcast. And 3, take one bold action this week based on that assessment. Based on what God is showing you, take one bold action this week to increase your capacity for the thing that God is expanding you for the thing that God is calling you to in this next season. And again, if you want to go deeper, I want to invite you to look in the footnotes and apply to be a part of the She's Unleashed Collective. You will also find some free resources, including the Kingdom affirmations, the Kingdom Identity Affirmations guide in the footnotes. And I want to encourage you, if this episode and the ones that you've heard before is a blessing to you and has blessed your soul, please share it with somebody, like, subscribe, do something to get this message out there, that every woman in this world, I'm on a mission to make sure that every woman in this world recognizes that there is a purpose and an assignment attached to your life, to your very conception, and it is absolutely imperative that you step into it fully. Sis, your expansion is already set in motion. Walk boldly into it, and I promise you, you're about to see God move in ways that you have never seen before. Y'all, until next time, stay blessed, stay covered, stay in his presence, and stay unleashed. And I will see you next time. God bless.